Chesterton Academy of Buffalo. Chesterton Academy? Chesterton? Who was this guy and why would anybody name a school after him? Hi, I'm Jim Simon. I'm the headmaster of the Chesterton Academy of Buffalo, and I'd like to try to answer that question. I've got a background in the Air Force and also in higher education, taught history several different times, and I come to the Academy here on a mission. And I think it's a mission G.K. Chesterton would support. So who was he? Well, he was born in 1874 in London. And as Dale Ahlquist, the founder of the Chesterton Society and the founder of Chesterton Academies, put it, he was the best writer of the 20th century. Wow, that's a pretty profound statement. Well, Ahlquist goes on to say, he was the greatest writer of the 20th century because he was the greatest thinker of the 20th century. He had something to say about everything, and he said it better than anyone else, quote unquote. So let's break this down a little bit. What did Chesterton represent? What did he espouse? And what does that have to do with us and a school named after him? Fair enough. In his day, in his adult life, he experienced the First World War, the Depression, the rise of fascism, communism. He died in 1936, but he lived a life of joy and wit and prolific writing. Thousands of newspaper articles, journal articles, hundreds of books, poems, ballads, epics. Just an amazing mind and a writer and thinker. And through it all, he kept faith. Kept faith that he arrived at finally in his life of the Catholic faith and in Jesus Christ, the way, the truth, and the life. And when I think about how he cast things and how he is represented oftentimes as we look back on his life, I can see how an academy named after him could try to emulate him. First, Chesterton in his day restored faith in reason. So faith and reason, what am I talking about there? Well, he was eminently reasonable, objective, and was one of the best debaters of his age. And some of the things that he wrote, like the Father Brown series, The Everlasting Man, other things like that, influenced many people of his day. C.S. Lewis was said to have been heavily influenced in his conversion, because of reading Chesterton's The Everlasting Man. So faith and reason, something a high school in Western New York should try to emulate? Absolutely. How about hope? Well, he was a very hopeful man, even though, again, he lived through some very difficult things. And like all of us, his journey was not without suffering, but he remained hopeful. And in today's day and age, for high school age students, wouldn't it be nice if we could restore hope? Indeed. And lastly, love. You know, the best definition of love, one that Chesterton tried to live and what we try to do here is, love is willing the good of the other. It's a very difficult thing. In Matthew 5, Jesus says, love our enemies. We hardly do very well loving our neighbors and our friends. That's a paraphrase of one of Chesterton's quotes. And so love, willing the best of the other, yes. That's what we try to do here at Chesterton Academy. You know, one of his famous lines is paraphrasing that the Christian ideal has not been tried and left wanting, but basically it's been found difficult and left untried. So here at the Chesterton Academy, naming our school after someone with such great insight and wit and faith and hope and love is a worthwhile endeavor. You know, back to Matthew 5, Jesus said, you and I are the salt of the earth. We are lights in the world, not to be put under a bushel, etc. So how would Chesterton put that? Well, if Chesterton was giving this talk, he might conclude by saying, Yeah, you're the salt of the earth. So go out there and be salty.